As someone who's an immigrant, that I think when you immigrate to a country where you don't speak the language, you didn't know anybody, without a lot of resources, that it taught us that we need to work twice as hard. That unshakable confidence, not arrogance, but unshakable confidence within yourself that I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna be successful. That I could see that. You have to understand that social media is not a business. Okay, you cannot go to the bank and say, hey, I got no money, but can I deposit? You know, I'm very popular on Instagram. Like can I deposit some likes?
And that's next on Bootstrapping Your Dreams show. So, the big question is this. How are ambitious people like us, who don't have a lot of resources, did not go to Ivy League colleges, were not born into wealth, how do we become resourceful enough? Use our creativity, our dedication, and a little bit of crazy to bootstrap our way to realizing our dreams. Whether it is launching a new company, launching a new app, or making it to the top of the corporate ladder. That is the question. And this podcast will give you the answers. If you like this video, do not forget to hit that like button now. Or if you want us to improve our content, go ahead and hit the thumbs down button and give us your feedback in the comment section below. Here at Tetranoodle, we are passionate about entrepreneurship, technology, and innovation. Every week, we bring you insightful and engaging interviews, tips, tricks, and strategies to help you grow your business or rise in your corporate profession. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. And do not forget to hit that bell icon so that you are notified when we publish new content. Hello and welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams show. And I'm really excited to present to you Dan Lok today. Dan Lok is a very well-known online entrepreneur. Most of you may already know him, but if not, then this interview will definitely give you some insights about this talented individual. We have lots to learn from him. He's a Chinese-Canadian businessman, global CEO, and educator, best known for his books, videos, and also for being the founder and chairman of Closers.com, the #1 virtual closers network. Dan has led several global movements, redefining modern education by capitalizing on the power of the digital age to teach thousands of people from over 150 countries on how to develop high-income skills, unlock true financial confidence, and master their financial destinies. He's also an accomplished public speaker, and I highly recommend you check out his channel on YouTube. Welcome, Dan. We are
Thank you. That's a great intro.
Great, awesome. So before we move further, can you tell us a little bit about your journey so that we can get to know you better?
Sure, and I've shared my story many times. That unlike most people, like I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I immigrated to Vancouver, Canada when I was 14 years old, and my parents got divorced when I was 16 years old. So shortly after that, unfortunately, my dad had a bad business partner and he went bankrupt. And the business partner basically took his money and disappeared. So when I was 17 years old, my dad was about $1 million US dollars in debt. Wow. And that wiped him out emotionally, financially as well. So starting at a very young age, I've always been very driven. As the only child in my family, I got into business because I wanted to take care of my mom. Because at the time, my mom was taking care of me in Vancouver. We were living in a small 1-bedroom condo. And so I don't know about most people, but I've been an entrepreneur all my life. And you talk about bootstrapping. Of course, we had no money. So bootstrap my way to success. Of course, throughout the journey, I've had massive failures. And of course, fast forward today, we've done some cool things. We've done some great things, impact a lot of people, but it was very humble beginning.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing story. And, as you said, bootstrapping, this is the theme of the show, and your story really aligns well with what we are trying to convey to the world as well. And it must have been really tough to get from that situation to, coming from a family where, your parents are no longer together, and you have a huge amount of debt, like, that's a massive amount of debt,
Mm.
to get over that mentally and sort of pick yourself up and still get going. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, how did you gain this mental strength to keep going?
I think one thing I believe in is, I call that the immigrant edge.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who's an immigrant, that I think when you immigrate to a country where you don't speak the language, you didn't know anybody, without a lot of resources, that it taught us that we need to work twice as hard, just to level the playing field, right? And we don't take things for granted. That we know everything that we want, where we desire, we have to fight for it, right? We have to earn it. So from a very young age, I learned that, because I got bullied when I was in high school. I got beat up. It was a very difficult time for me. So it taught me mental toughness. So I don't take that as it's like things are working against me. The system is rigged against me. Now look at this. You know what? I just need to work twice as hard. I need to focus. I need to pay the price. I need to sacrifice in order to be a little bit more successful. But remember back then, when I couldn't speak a word of English, I would get these like index cards, right? And I had a paper dictionary, and I would write down words, and I would learn a word, and I would look at it every day. I look at a card. I want to learn a new word, right? And that's how I got started. I watched TV. And remember the very first movie that I watched. It was, I believe, a Jim Carrey movie. If I remember correct, I think it's the Ace Ventura or something like that. It's a comedy, okay? And first time I walked into a theater, because in Hong Kong, there's subtitle. Here, there's no subtitle. Right? And I couldn't understand a damn word. Like, I couldn't understand. It's funny, but I couldn't understand the damn word he was saying, right? But then I said, that's not okay. And I say, okay, I'm going to learn it. And I remember eventually, as I put effort learning to speak the language, English, I'll understand like 5% of it, right? And then 10%, and then 15%, 25%. Eventually, I could understand the whole movie. That's when I could improve my English. So what kept me going is knowing that I started off at a disadvantaged position. It gave me the motivation to actually strive and push forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great story. And I completely agree with you. This sense of entitlement, I see that in young entrepreneurs, young generation. But I think, to your point, I think we should let go of that and focus on hard work. I am also an immigrant, so I completely understand where you're coming from. We come here in search of opportunities, and inherently we know that we have to work hard. But that doesn't mean that people who are born here, they have similar opportunities, and they can grab them by working hard and letting go of this sense of entitlement, right?
Yeah, and when it comes to business, maybe you're thinking about, but I don't know enough people. I don't know all the right people, or I don't have the resources. I don't have the capital. I don't have money. Whatever limiting beliefs that you might have that may be holding you back. But here's what I believe. I believe that if you cannot make money without money, you probably cannot make money with money.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. That's how traditional businesses start, without any money. And these days, people are, more geared towards any business that you need to start, and needs to start with a venture capital on the table. So
it's not true. It's not true. You could bootstrap your way to pretty, everything I do with my company, that's a global company, I bootstrap.
Nice.
I never took any outside funding. I never raised capital.
Awesome. Now you brought up a point about beliefs, and I think more than strategy, more than tactics, I think your mindset and your core beliefs are very fundamental to your success. Will you agree with that statement?
I think self-esteem is the foundation of all success. That unshakable confidence, not arrogance, but unshakable confidence within yourself that I'm going to make it. That I'm going to be successful. That I could see that, right? I'll give you a perfect example. Many years ago, I was already speaking. I had a goal. I wanted to be a TEDx speaker. And before TEDx, now you have more speakers, but back then not as many speakers. So I said, that's my goal. I want to be a TEDx speaker, because to a speaker, that's like, it's an accomplishment. So I was sitting down with one of my mentees in a restaurant, and I told him I'm going to be a TEDx speaker. And he's like, okay, how are you planning to do that, Dan? Right? I said, I have no idea. Do you know anyone that can like make a recommendation or help you get in? I said, I don't know. I said, no clue. I said, but I know I'm going to be a TEDx speaker.
Yeah.
A
Cool.
few months later, I got an email from the organizer and say, hey, Dan, TEDx Stanley Park, we're opening up. We're looking for speakers. Now, I don't know if it would work or not, but you can enter, right? I said, oh, that's cool. And through that period of time, just so you know, before that happened, my team, we applied to many of the TEDx stage. Me, Dan Lok, got rejected 15, 20 times.
Wow.
20 times before I had an opportunity like that. And of course, later on, I was on stage. So that unshakable confidence, because that becomes your self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to see it first. You got to visualize it. You got to believe in it before you can actually do it. It's not the other way around. It's people say, oh, I'll believe you when I see it. That's not true. You got to believe it first, then you will see it, then you will accomplish it.
Completely agree. Yeah. And the persistence that you need and the courage that you need to keep trying. To your point, it all comes from self-esteem. So if you don't have a very high self-esteem, not arrogance, you can never continue to strive for your success, right?
Correct.
All right, great. And now obviously when you started, you had a very good reason, very good why. Your why was to take care of your family, your mother. Now you are in a different position. You have achieved a lot. So what is your drive right now? Like, how has it changed over time?
I think motives matter a lot. I think what drives you today may not be the same reason that drives you the day after tomorrow. It evolves. So in the beginning, I was driven by survival, meaning that I just want to take care of my mom. That was it. That was like, if I could make enough so that my mom doesn't have to be stressed out and we can pay rent, I'm happy, right? So that was in the beginning. Then later on, as I tasted success, I wanted more, and then I was driven more by the comfort. I wanted to be a little bit more comfortable. I wanted to have nicer things. I wanted to drive a nicer car, right? Then I transitioned into, I was driven there more by success. And then, unfortunately, I'm not proud to admit it, ego. Ego. And there was a good 10 years of my life, I would say, maybe from 20 to 30 years old, that I was driven by ego. That I want to prove other people wrong. Because remember, I got bullied in school. So it's almost like a thing where I wanted to show the world that I'm somebody. That I wasn't the invisible kid back in high school that no one knows my fucking name, right? That I'm somebody. Look at how smart I am. Look at how accomplished I am, right? And that drove me for a good 10 years. Today, I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. Because I've already done it. Once, let's say, you want to buy certain things, you want to accomplish certain things. People say, I want to write a book. I've written 13 books, right? I want to impact X amount of people. We reach tens of millions of people every month, right? I want to have, I want to buy a car. I've got 4. You know what I mean? It's just like, there's so many things that it doesn't interest me that much anymore. And that's why I wrote the new book that's coming out, Unlock It. It's the subtitle, The Master Key to Success, Wealth, and Significance. Living a life of significance. That's no longer just chasing success, but what's your legacy? What's your legacy? Like, who do you want to impact? What do you want to leave behind? So today, what drives me is a very, very different reason. It's like a car. You can power a car with diesel, or with like premium gas or electricity. Still goes. But the feel, your motive does matter. It does matter a lot. So that's what drives me today.
That's great. Great answer. Now, tell me one thing, because I have watched a lot of your videos and I know a little bit of your background, and I know you went through some tough times initially, but you kept going. You mentioned self-esteem and all that. That's all good. But do you think in order to get through this entrepreneurial journey, you have to be a little bit crazy to try that?
It's not so much crazy. Is I think the price of admission, the price of admission of a successful entrepreneur is a high tolerance of pain.
Yeah.
That means that your ability to endure pain for a long period of time, not talent, not even your not luck, right? Not knowing the right people. No, it's the ability to endure pain. Problem is this: with social media, everybody's a freaking CEO. Everyone is a founder. Okay, everyone is an entrepreneur, right? You can be a one-man operation, you're an entrepreneur, right? You're a social media person, you're an entrepreneur, right? Everyone is an influencer. So the problem with that is it creates this illusion of, entrepreneurship, everyone can be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Everyone could be an entrepreneur, but not everyone will be successful as an entrepreneur though. Just by hang out a sign and say, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, anyone can do that. You can have your Twitter or Instagram account and say, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. But are you solving problems? Are you creating value? Are you generating revenue? Are you building a company, right? Like most are not. Most entrepreneurs don't make money, right? Most entrepreneurs actually make less money than when they were working a job.
Yeah.
Right? Most people don't make it.
Yeah.
So then how do you call yourself? It's like you call yourself, I am a champion basketball player. I'm such a good basketball player, but you don't win championships. It doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So you cannot be. So what I'm saying is most people now they get into entrepreneurship with the wrong expectations.
That's right.
And they see someone's lifestyle. They see someone's success and they can see what I do and say, oh yeah, I want to be like Dan. I want to do that. And I'm like, I don't know if you're willing to pay that price, right? Everyone wants to eat, no one wants to hunt.
Yeah, exactly.
And most people are not. They greatly underestimate what it takes.
Yeah, that's true.
So you think it's going to take you 2 years? It's going to take you 10.
Yeah.
Are you willing to put in 10 years of your life to learn and develop yourself as an entrepreneur? This is not buying an online course for 3 months and now you're an entrepreneur or you're a digital marketer, right?
Yeah.
It's not what I'm talking about.
Exactly. No, I completely agree. And to your point, a lot of people, they look at the shine and glitter of
the glam,
successful entrepreneurs, but they never look at the failures or the mistakes or the tough times you have to go through. And also to your point, I always say to people when you're a lot of people are concerned about somebody stealing their idea. So I tell them, hey, we can rely on the laziness of majority of people of not taking action. And this is not to put anybody down, but I just experience it even in myself. Sometimes I procrastinate, I get lazy, and taking action is the number one key. And a lot of people don't want to do that.
And it's 99% execution and 1% idea.
Yeah.
Having the idea doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything. A lot of people have great ideas, but it is how do you implement? How do you execute? Can you put a team together to execute that with you together, right?
Yeah.
And most of one man, one woman operation, it's they don't know. They have no leadership. They don't know how to build a team. They don't know how to execute an idea. They have no business acumen. So you think about if anyone can steal your idea, then your idea ain't that good.
Yeah.
Like if you can do, I'd say this, and this is not coming from a braggadocious way. If people can do what I do, then I'm not very good at what I do. Like I tell people, like I share my model with people, even with my business circle.
Yeah.
I show them, here's what I do. They say, you want to blow up your social media? Here's what I do. I show them all this stuff. Guess what's the reaction? I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like watching Bruce Lee on a movie doesn't mean you can kick like Bruce Lee.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it's watching basketball, watching Michael Jordan slam dunk. It doesn't mean you can do the same thing.
Yeah.
So if people can easily knock you off and copy what you do, then you can be very good at what you do.
True enough.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned social media, and you have maybe 1.7 million followers. So you had to come out of your shell. You didn't know English, and you learned your English watching TVs and movies. So how important this is to be a showman in as an entrepreneur to grow your business?
I think showmanship plays. There's a degree because you want to be a little bit more exciting, you'll be more interesting on camera, right?
Yeah,
You don't
yeah,
want to be so boring. But at the end of the day, I think what allowed me to grow my social following
Mhm.
on YouTube, on Instagram. I think last time I looked, in YouTube probably 1.6, 1.7,
Mhm.
1 million on Instagram, another couple million on Facebook. We reach about organic content would reach about 50 million people per month.
Nice.
Okay, so what allows us to grow? Well, first of all, I've been doing marketing online since 2004.
Yeah.
It's not new to me.
Mhm.
People see me on social. Oh, Dan Lok just came out of nowhere. I didn't come out of nowhere.
Mhm.
I've been doing it for a long time. I've been doing social recently for the last 4 or 5 years. Yes,
Mhm.
but I've been in the space for a long time. That's number one. Number two is that being interested in what your audience wants.
Yeah.
Not what you want, but what kind of, are you paying attention to what kind of content they want you to create?
Mhm.
I know it sounds so simple, but I'm shocked how many influencers, they actually don't look at what people are commenting. What do they want to know? When you pay attention to that, you will know, okay, if like, it's like you own a restaurant and people my customers like steak. Let's
Yeah.
give them more steak. Or they like this salad. Let's give them more salad. Instead of you just making whatever you want from the kitchen, let's pay very close attention. And if you look at the data will tell you everything you need to know. Example, let's say your podcast, certain topics would take off better than the others.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do more of those.
Yeah.
People are telling you, people are voting with the time and saying, I want more of that type of content. Great, let me give you more. Like, it's as simple as that. We pay very close attention to what my audience wants.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give them more
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. So to summarize, you not only have to be a showman, but you also have to have business acumen to be able to read all this data, analyze this data, figure it out,
Yeah.
and actually put it into motion and execute on it.
And you have to understand that social media is not a business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fame without fortune is frustration.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay, you cannot go to the bank and say, hey, I got no money, but can I deposit? I'm very popular on Instagram. Like can I deposit some likes?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't do that. So people don't understand that they focus so much time. Like the other day I was on the street walking.
Mhm.
Someone comes up to me, he's a fan, right? Super excited. We took a selfie, and then he was sharing with me, hey Dan, I've got this Instagram account. And I post motivation and stuff like that. And I've only got a few thousand followers, but how do I grow this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, for what?
Yeah.
Like, for what? What's your business model first?
Mhm.
Having all those followers and people lose sight of that. Yes, you want social, but what's the outcome that you want?
Yeah.
What are you trying to build? You could be popular. Like the other day I saw a news article, someone on Instagram with over 2 million followers, a
Mhm.
girl,
Mhm.
could not sell like 36 t-shirts.
Wow.
2 million followers, could not sell 36 t-shirts for like $20-$30, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So what good is
Yeah.
that?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that not lose sight of, hey, it's yes, important, but that's not a business.
Yeah.
It's a way for you to get your name out there so you can promote whatever you do, but that's not a business.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a vlogger, you get like YouTube AdSense revenue. Even then, that's a way to make a living, but that's still not a business, right?
Yeah. I agree. Very well said. Thank you so much. Now, going back to your beginnings, you said you had many failures. You may have made some mistakes as well. So, are there any key mistakes that you remember that taught you a very important lesson that you may want to share?
Not just beginning, I still make mistakes.
Yeah, all right.
I make plenty of mistakes, and even the last 12 months, I made plenty of mistakes. Mm-hmm. Because when you're growing and hyper growth, you're gonna try things, and some things work, something doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to mistakes, there's so many, but I'm going to give you a kind of labor framework. I think most people, they look at mistakes as I failed, or I take it personally. Example, let's say you're closing on the phone. Okay. So the prospect says no, that I don't want to buy. And then you say to yourself, oh, I suck. I'm no good. I'm not a good salesperson. I'm not a good closer. Maybe this is not my career. Why am I even doing this? Maybe you should just go back and get a job. Like this is not the place for me, right? Why am I so bad? Like, why don't people like me, right? When it's simply just the prospects are not ready to buy. But we take it so personal because our self-esteem is low. We're looking for validation from other people. So instead of looking for that, if you're self-secure, you're like, you know what? The prospect's not ready to buy. Not a good fit. Move on. Next. And it's those failures that slow people down. They spend way too much time kind of like staying at the low and kind of thinking about, oh yeah, why didn't it work? Why am I so horrible? Why am I not good at this? Why am I not good enough? They're playing this CD in their mind versus it is what it is. I made a mistake, right? I made a wrong decision. I bet on the wrong thing. I tested the wrong marketing idea. All right, what can we learn from it?
Yeah.
What can we learn from it? Okay, we learn from it and we just move on.
Yeah. We try to improve it next time around, and then things.
It's one time I was speaking. I was a group of entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
And arguably, I'm probably the most successful guy in the room. And I said, put up your hand if you've lost more than $10,000 in business, right? Okay, I said, keep your hand up if you lost more than $50,000 in it. You can see that, right? And you get 100,000, and you can see the hands slowly coming down. Gets fewer people. Lost $500,000, right? $1 million in business, right? $2 million in business, and then you got only a couple hand, like, right? And then I said, you look at my hand, and my hand is still fucking up. Right? What does that tell you? I've lost more money than most of you guys.
Yeah.
That's why I'm in front of you sharing my story with you, because I failed in almost all of you.
Yeah.
I failed more than probably this chunk of the combined. Yeah. So it's not that. So failure, think about this. Failure is not the opposite of success, because people think success and failure, they're the opposite. It's not true. Failure is a part of success. You cannot get to success without failure. If someone who's a number one top salesperson in any industry, I can guarantee you that person gets more rejection than anybody else.
Yeah.
Because he or she takes more action than anybody else. They will have more phones slam them on their face, more no's, more rejections, more lost deals than anybody else. And that's why they're the number one.
Yeah.
Guaranteed in any industry. But yes, people shy away from that. Yeah. People shy away from that. It's cool. It's a good thing. Right?
That's true.
If you are not failing on a regular basis, you're not growing.
Yeah. I mean, very well said. I think taking those kind of risks and betting on yourself, even though the outcome is not known, is the key. And I think it all sort of ties back, whatever you have said, it's all tying back together. Like, you need to know yourself, have a good self-esteem and persistence to keep going. And taking risks is the key. I'm fond of History Channel, and in one of the documentaries, they were talking about Julius Caesar. And at many, many points in his life, he bet everything, including his own life, just because he wanted to win. And, he was so driven that he did not care about the outcome. He just kept on going.
And that's why he's Caesar. And that's why really written about him in history. That's exactly why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So now when you started off, you said, okay, I want to try this. Tell us a little bit about how did you get your first clients?
So I had multiple failures. So I tried a lot of different things. I had a landscaping business when I was young. I had a delivery business. I was fixing computers for people. I tried a lot of different things, right?
Yeah.
None of them really worked for me until I found my first mentor. His name is Alan. And Alan taught me the first, what I call high income skill. And you can see on my YouTube channel, on my social, I talk about high income skills a lot, right? That's like one of the key concepts that I talk about all the time. That I want people to get this. So my first high income skill, and I define high income skill is it's a skill that can make you $10,000 or more per month. Okay. Now, wouldn't you agree if you're making $10,000 a month? I mean, life is okay, right? It's not bad.
For sure.
Not a millionaire, but it's cool, right? For most people.
Yeah.
6-figure income a year. So my first high income skill was actually copywriting.
Yeah.
So I was writing ads for companies and entrepreneurs for like their sales literatures and sales letters and ads. So Alan taught me copywriting, and I was in my early 20s and just writing for people, right? And because at the time, think about it, I was in my early 20s. I was speaking with an accent. I am Chinese.
Yeah.
Like that's not a very good combination for a copywriter.
Yeah.
You understand that, right? Like when I was talking with a client, like you speak with an accent and like broken English. Can you even write, right?
Yeah.
And it's difficult. So I talk to young people all the time. Say, hey, Dan, how do I get client? I don't have any credibility. I don't have any track record. How do I get going? Here's what I did. I made an offer that they cannot refuse.
Nice.
So I was talking with any business owners. I said, hey, you know what? I saw your ad. I see what you do. I think I can make it better. Don't pay me anything. Let me get to work. Let me write it for you. Only if you like it, then you pay me.
Nice.
Now, some said no, but a lot said yes.
Yeah.
And some, now, did some of them take advantage of me that they actually like the stuff, but they don't pay me? Yeah, but also some like me now and say, I'll pay you. In fact, I like you so much, I'm going to hire you for the next project. Because you see, when you're getting started, when you have no track record, what you need is you need some work.
Yeah.
You get a foot in the door. Then from there, what happens is those group of clients, some just don't pay me at all. That's fine. That's on them. That's not on me. But even though if they don't pay me, have I got something out of it? Tell me.
I think so.
Yeah. What did I get? Experience.
Exactly.
No one can take that away. Even I wrote it. It's still me. I learned how it works, right? Yeah, so it's practice. Fine. I don't get paid, but I got experience. Some, they pay me. Now I got a paying client.
Yeah.
Great. Some, they say, yeah, it's okay, but I'm more than happy to give you an endorsement.
Yeah.
So I got some testimonials, right? I remember back then, Jay Conrad Levinson. Jay is the founder of guerrilla marketing. It's a very popular guerrilla marketing, like in business world, right? Jay sold, I don't know, 20 million books worldwide. Crazy, okay? Kind of the godfather of like guerrilla marketing. I was in my early 20s. At the time, Jay has a membership called Guerrilla Marketing Association. I saw his page. We rewrote the entire page.
I see.
I sent it to Jay. I didn't ask. I just sent it to say, Jay, I saw your page and here's what I wrote. He was like, okay, you're adding value before you ask anything in return. That's the key. Yeah. Add value. He looked at it, like, this is great. He ran the page. It tripled its conversion.
Nice.
From then it's like, young man, I like your attitude. I like you adding value. I got endorsement from Jay.
Nice.
Someone who's like a very huge, influencer, a figure in the marketing world. I took that testimonial, then I talked to other prospects and say, hey, I wrote for Jay, I triple his results. They're like, this is awesome, right? Great. Yeah. That's how I got my foot in the door. It's adding value before you're asking anything in return versus what everybody else wants to do. They want to get paid before they deliver anything. You're not paying me, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
You're nobody yet. You don't have any track record yet. All you have is your like sweat equity, right?
Mhm.
All you have is your time. Let's invest that. Get that going first, right? You could say I charge you X amount of dollars, and well, but if no one's paying you, who cares?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Get your foot in the door, learn, get the experience, get the endorsement, get some money first, and that's exactly how I built my career. Nothing fancy if you think about it.
Yeah.
It works though.
Yeah. These are simple things, and very good advice. You just have to be able to implement it and go with it, and anybody can do it basically. And the internet and social media platforms, they allow us to kick off these businesses at almost no expense, so we have no excuse not to take advantage of them.
Correct.
All right, so now tell me a little bit about your rituals, because I know you have you put a lot of emphasis on rituals and psychology. So what are your daily rituals that you follow?
The morning ritual is probably the most important, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would get up. I would listen to first of all, I look at what I have to do that day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Usually it's planned the night before.
Yeah.
So I would write down what are the things I want to accomplish the next day.
Mm-hmm.
I'll review that. I will start the morning with what I call attitude gratitude, which is a piece of music and a kind of not meditation, but it's a guided meditation with my own voice that I would go through and focus on what am I grateful for, right?
Mm-hmm.
That even the little things in life. So I want to start the day with gratitude.
Yeah.
Because when you are grateful, you will not be fearful.
Yeah.
Okay. Those two emotions cannot coexist at the same time. So I start with that. And from there, I don't check my emails in the morning. I don't like to look at all those things in the morning. I would work on the important things first, right? So in the morning, like it's simple. And sometimes I would do some yoga.
Yeah.
To get the blood flowing. Some kind of stretch exercise to get the blood flowing. So focus on what I need to accomplish that day, attitude, gratitude, a little bit of stretching exercise. Then I start the day.
That's great.
Again, very simple. It's nothing fancy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
I like to keep things simple.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it's complex, you don't do them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You keep it simple. 2-3 things and boom.
Yeah, true. All right. So, we have a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, a lot of people who are just starting their journey. Is there anything else that you may want to share at this point with them, which I haven't asked?
Here's what entrepreneurship is. You imagine you have to travel to somewhere, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You have to travel to somewhere. Let's say you want to go to New York. You get to the airport, you walk up to the gate, and the gate, the flight attendants saying to you, "Hey, are you flying to New York?" I said, "Yes, I'm flying to New York." Okay, you see all those parts and wheels and pieces and metals out there all on the runway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to go to New York, you have to put all the pieces together.
Yeah.
There's no plane for you. What do you mean no plane? No, that's it. So you need to put all the pieces together. Put from nothing, no blueprint, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Put the plane together, and hopefully to also put feel in it, which is money, capital.
Yeah.
Take off the plane, pilot the plane, get there and land safely. Hopefully before it doesn't crash.
Yeah.
That's entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
That's entrepreneurship. So it is very, very difficult. There's nothing easy about it. So don't go in thinking it's easy. It's going to be extremely difficult, right? Now, that's one way to do it. On the other hand, isn't it safer? Imagine a different scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go to New York. Instead of have all the pieces in place, you kind of get on a plane that's already halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, halfway there. And there's a pilot, and you become the co-pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of learn the ropes.
Yeah.
Eventually you get good, you might even switch. The main pilot becomes the co-pilot, you become the main pilot. Now, what are the chances of you getting a destination compared to like looking at all the pieces, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So the metaphor really is either you can, if you don't know anything, work with someone who actually knows a lot.
Mhm.
Shadow them. It would greatly reduce your risk. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, or you have some kind of a mentor to show you the way
Yeah.
that has been there and done that versus you trying to figure this out on your own. That is extremely costly.
Yeah.
And you know, as a plane, if you miss certain parts, the thing would crash. And that's exactly why the failure rate of small businesses are so high.
Mhm.
Most people never get to the destination because they miss one piece, it falls apart, it crash. Or they run out of fuel, they run out of money, it crash.
Yeah.
Then why not get on a plane that's like, hey, we're already halfway. We're like 80% there. Why not become the co-pilot, learn the rope, and do that? Like, to me, I think that's a much better way to do it versus starting from scratch and say, oh, I'm going to figure this out on my own. Great. It's going to take you a long time. And by the way, chances are you won't make it.
Yeah, that's very true. And I completely agree with you. Because I've seen this, in many, many cases, and people get arrogant and they get, too in love with their own ideas, and eventually they fail.
Yeah, they say, I get all the time, oh, Dan, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
So what? Like, it's like when you say I've got an idea, hey, I want to go to New York.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about the plane? No. Do you know how it works? No. Do you know how to put it together? No. Do you know how to pilot? No.
Yeah.
But I want to go to New York. It's like, you think it's idiotic when you think about it.
Yeah.
But that's exactly how most people operate as a wannabe. There's wannabe entrepreneur and there's professional entrepreneur.
Yeah.
The problem is that you don't need credentials.
Yeah.
Anybody can become entrepreneur. That's the problem. And there's zero barrier of entry.
Yeah.
But people don't understand. They don't have the business acumen. They don't understand. They don't have the skill sets.
Yeah. But as you said, like, the good thing is in this today's age, there is help available. There is, these mentors available, these, people available who can build you, part of the plane. So this was not existent, when I was starting out like 20 years ago. I'm sure you had to learn
100%.
everything from the ground up. So
100%. It's good and bad. Now there are more resources. There's more education. There are more videos to watch. There's so much information. There's so many different people you can learn from. The key is always consider the source.
Yeah.
Who are you learning from? I tell my students, who you learn from is way more important than what you learn.
Yeah. Cool.
So, like, what determines how good you are? Let's say take martial art. I'm a martial artist.
Yeah.
What dictates how good your skill is your instructor.
Mm.
Not the style. You can learn karate, boxing, jiu-jitsu, whatever style you pick. You can learn from a lot of people. But who is your instructor makes a huge difference. And most people don't know. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, people can't tell chicken shit from chicken salad.
Mm.
They can tell. I think this person teaches social media, that person teaches social media. They kind of look the same.
Yeah.
People don't understand the difference. The wiser people, they would know, but most don't.
Yeah.
They can't tell the difference, right? The smart ones, they would, or they've been burned so many times. Finally, like when my students found me, they don't go anywhere else.
True.
It's always, hey, Dan, usually people come to me, usually they've learned from a lot of people first.
Yeah.
Usually that's what happens. And they found me, then they stay. It's like, I'm home. I don't need to go anywhere else, right?
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Now, I know we are running out of time. If you're okay with it, I would love to ask you one more question,
sure,
which is related to what you brought up, like martial arts. So, I've seen a lot of successful people, and they do have some sort of a martial art, in their skill set. So, what role did martial art play in your success?
Huge. As a businessman, as an entrepreneur, a lot of the skill sets, a lot of the mindset that I have, I got it from martial art. As being a big fan of Bruce Lee, obviously, there are a lot of my philosophies in life and business I learned from Bruce Lee, right? I've actually studied under two of Bruce Lee's original students.
Nice.
So I'm a huge fan of Bruce Lee. And so in business and in, like, for example, the way that I'll give you like a sales example because that's the easiest to explain. Okay. In sales, you've heard of this before, handling objections.
Yeah.
People talk about how do you handle objections. Let me teach you 30 ways to handle objections, right? Very common in sales world.
Yeah.
And the way that I see it is that handle objection, meaning that when in martial arts, someone throws a punch at you, right? And you would block, right? You could block, you could do whatever you do, right? And he throws a kick, you would block, you would do whatever that you do. That's fine, that's handling objection.
Yeah.
That's in sales. But in martial art, or at least in Bruce Lee's martial art, called Jeet Kune Do, which is the way of the intercepting fist. Bruce didn't believe in blocking.
I see.
He believes that blocking, it puts you in a very because you're always reacting to whatever the opponent is throwing at you.
Yeah.
So Bruce believes in, I'll take a step back a little bit. So Bruce much more believes in intercepting. So when a strike is coming, instead of me blocking, so someone throws a strike, I block and then I hit, right? Bruce believes that when someone wants to attack, you already intercept.
I see.
So that's a finger jab.
Nice.
So I applied it in sales. So instead of waiting for an objection to come up, I would preempt the objection. So let me demonstrate.
Yeah.
Because to make it real.
Sure.
So one of the most common objections you hear is, I want to think about it. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like, you're talking about the price, you're talking with the prospect then says, hey, you know what? This sounds all good, but I want to think about it.
Yeah.
So instead of then, what do you say when people say, I want to think about it?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I asked them, what do they want to think about, and what is their objection? Is there somebody else participating in the?
Nah, I just need to think about it.
Can you tell me what you want to think about? What is there any question that you have that I haven't answered?
No, I just need some time.
How much time do you think you need?
I don't know. I need to talk to my spouse, talk to my partner. I don't know. I'll
All
get
right.
back to you.
Okay, so how about you talk to your spouse and we talk tomorrow or maybe the after, because the offer that I'm giving you right now, it will expire by midnight this weekend.
That's a very typical salesperson language, right? I'm gonna need to train you on this.
Okay.
Because that's the opposite of what we do. Because that you sound too salesy, too eager.
I see.
So instead of doing that, but that's not the way. Let's go back to preamp. So instead of waiting at the end and then you're playing catch up, right? You feel like you're trying to convince, right?
Yeah.
If in the beginning, let's say 3-5 minutes into the conversation, and let's say the prospect is like John, okay? So let's say you're Mr. Prospect, right? I say, hey, John, before we get going, before we get into what we could do for you, can we have a simple agreement? And then you say, sure. John, there are 3 things that you could say to me by the end of a conversation. 1, you could say yes, which then means that you and I are going to move forward. We're going to work together, which is cool. That means I can solve your problem. Second thing you could say is you could say no. Now, I want you to know, John, it's perfectly okay to say no. The third thing that you could say, but I don't want you to, is I want to think about it. Because I've worked with so many clients. Usually when people say that I want to think about it, what they mean is no. I would rather just tell me no. Is that fair? So now I've preempted the objection. That's a finger jab. So at the end, then John can say, I want to think about it. Because I already preempted in the beginning. I'm not reactive, I'm proactive. That's how I apply martial art into business.
That's amazing.
It's the same idea. So I don't want to block, I want to intercept. I want to preempt the strike so it doesn't even come up.
Cool.
So isn't it way more effective?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's my move, right?
Yeah. And that's why I started the interview by saying, we have a lot to learn from you. So thanks a lot for sharing that. On that note, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story and your experience and, giving us all these invaluable tips on how we can bootstrap a business, launch a business, and grow it. Thank you so much. Before I let you go, I'm sure that, your name is enough. You can search your name on Google, and
Yes.
people will be able to reach out. But nevertheless, can you tell us, how if somebody wants to contact you, how can they reach out to you, and what kind of stuff?
We're on all the platforms: Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Dan Lok, DanLok, my name, and also just danlok.com, DanLok.com.
Awesome, that's great. Thank you so much, Dan.
Welcome.
And that's all for now. Until next time. And if you're an existing or an aspiring tech entrepreneur, then I invite you to check out my new online workshop, Bootstrapping Your Tech Startup Dreams. Go to bootstraptechstartup.com and sign up for free. I want to make sure that more successful and sound decisions are made every day in your tech projects. Let's start finding solutions to your problems. So go to bootstraptechstartup.com, and I look forward to helping you with your tech projects. If you want more engaging videos and insightful interviews with industry's thought leaders, then check out other videos we have picked for you. The link is right there. And if you want to be notified about our new content, please do consider subscribing to our channel.